Hey guys, welcome back to UModeler. In this video, we're going to take a look at hotspot texturing in UModeler X. It's a super useful way to speed up your texturing in 3D modeling in your game environments. I've been messing around with it and it's honestly just a cool technique. So the basic idea is that instead of manually adjusting UVs for every surface, which can get pretty tedious, hotspot texturing lets you apply textures using predefined layouts. UModeler X automatically snaps textures into place, making things way faster, especially for your modular assets. So why bother? Well, it's efficient and it's customizable. Basically, you can set up hotspot regions for different surfaces like grass, concrete, wood, whatever you like. So let's take a look and see how we can use it in UModeler X. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is create a UModeler X game object in our scene. All right, so what I'll do is go ahead and go here and I'll create a box. So I'll go ahead and click here and I'll do just like so. And I think that will work just fine. All right, so to get started with doing hotspot texturing here, we want to do first, we want to create a hotspot texturing object. So what you want to do is go into your project panel here. I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to create, then I'm going to go down to UModeler X, and then I'm going to click on hotspot layout. Great. So what we're going to do is now rename it. I'm not going to rename it, but what you can do is rename it to whatever you like. But for now, I'm going to leave it just like that. The next thing you want is your actual texture for your hotspot. Now, in my case, I do have a couple of different textures we can use just to demonstrate how this would work. If you already have a texture, what you can do is actually take your texture and drag it directly on your game object. And that's going to apply the texture directly, and it's going to create a folder called materials with your actual material. Now, of course, you could have just right click, create material, and then assign your material, your texture to that material. But this was just a quick fire way to be able to get that going. All right. So now that we have our material for our game object, we have a hotspot texturing object as well. What I want to do is double click on this object. So I'm going to double click on it. And what it's going to do is open up the hotspot layout editor. Okay. Now, inside of this editor, you have a few different windows. You're going to have up top, you're going to have a toolbar. Below the toolbar, you're going to have the settings. Below the settings, you're going to have your workspace area. And then on the right side, this is going to be your layout group. All right. And what we're going to do is click on the game object that we applied that texture to. All right. So now that we've clicked on this game object, you'll see here in the hotspot layout editor that it's showing the material that we plan to build or create different layouts for our hotspots, right? So, however, if for whatever reason you click off, it disappears, what you can do is in your settings, you can go to temporary texture and apply that same texture that you're using for your material. So in the event that you're just not selecting anything, you can still go and create different layouts on this particular texture. All right, perfect. Now, what we want to do now is go and start to actually create the different layouts. Now, remember, this here, I'm going to move this to the side for a moment. This is your layout object, and this is what actually opens your layout editor by double clicking and open that. That's how I get that open. All right, so what we're going to do is kind of just briefly go over these. We have our toolbar, and in your toolbar, this is just going to show you the actual object that we are currently in. Below that, you're going to have the different snapping options. So you can do none, of course. And what none really is say, for instance, you're just moving this out here. It's not snapping to anything, any grids or anything like that. If you do UVs, it's going to snap, as you can see, and that's the one that we're going to be using. And if you do pixel, it's going to be similar to the none, but it's going to be based on pixels in the scene. but we're not going to do any of those. What we're going to do is to do the UV, and then here is the snap size. So you could do something like 1 by 4, and if you do it to click and drag, it's going to give you 1 by 4, as you can see, and that works pretty good. It's pretty quick. You could do a half as well, so that works. There you go. Or what I'm going to do is going to be 1 by 32. So what we're going to do now is actually start to click and drag. So in order to draw out your layouts, what you want to do is I'm going to start at the very top and work my way down. So I'm going to click, drag, and let go. Click, drag, and let go. And the fastest way is actually from top to bottom. So if you saw I'm at the top corner of this area, and you just kind of click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, and you just keep going. Now, of course, you can speed up this video, but I'm not actually going to speed it up. I'm going to actually go through this whole process just so you can see how long this could take. It doesn't take that long to do this, because once you do it, guess what? You're actually creating some amazing uh, modularity textures, and you can apply this to pretty much multiple objects. So you want to compare this to something like UV modeling. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and as the pieces get a little larger, we cover more ground here. Now this is a concrete, but you can have all types of things like wood and whatnot. We're not going to create a hotspot texture in this video. We can do that for another video. All right, and so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and continue. We're almost done. All right. And there we have it, and almost there. Awesome. Okay, so now what we created is multiple little layouts for our texture so that it will work better with our objects. So what I'm going to do now is go over to the layout group on the right side, and I'm going to click on edit. Now, as you can see, I can select these and I can move them and edit them as needed. Now you can actually name them. So if this was concrete or grass, you can name it grass if you want to do that. But we're not going to name anything here in this case. And you can also remove. So anything that you have selected, you can actually click remove and it's going to remove it. Now to add it back, what you have to do is click new layout and you just simply click and drag that new layout out and you're all set there. Now, of course, you can also show your grid if you want to do that. You can show the name or not show the name. You can show the texture or not show the texture. You can actually have this repeat if you need to. So there's different visual ways you can see this, but generally speaking, I typically just kind of leave it just like this. This usually works here. All right. So now that we've created this layout, what we want to do is see this work on our actual object in our scene. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and close this for now. Okay. And so now that we have this closed, all we need to do is click on this box here. And inside of our inspector, we want to go all the way down to surface. And inside surface, you're going to see this tool called Hotspot. So there we go. When we click on it, you're going to see some tool properties: backspace select, camera base select, hotspot object, normal group, and some other options here below. So what we're going to need to do is for the hotspot object, you want to take this, click and drag it right in here. Okay. And then next, what you want to do is click on Auto Hotspot and Build. What this is going to do is give you real-time feedback as to changes you're making with your object. All right, so what I'm going to do is select face. And if we click this face and I click and move it, as you can see, it is now changing based on the hotspot layouts that we selected. And so now, as you can see, this is much easier to manage, and you don't have to do any UVs, any type of UV editing whatsoever. All right. And so now we have this just like that. That's looking pretty good. Great. Now, if for any reason your object is not it's not auto moving or the texture is not changing, what you can do is actually go into your settings, and inside your settings at the top, you want to uncheck auto unwrap shape. Okay. And so once you undo this, you'll be able to have that set up. Or what you also want to do, for instance, is go ahead and select all your UVs, go into the editor, go to UV editor. And if you had UVs here, what you would want to do is select all your UVs and hit cancel. So for instance, what I'll go ahead and do is select all these UVs, and I'm going to actually UV it. So I'm going to click cube, and I'm going to hit unwrap. And then there's my actual UVs for this game object. And so as you can see, now this game object is not UV'd. It's UV'd, but it's not based on the hotspot textures. So in order for this to actually work, what we're going to do is select all the UVs here, hit cancel, and what we're going to have is our hotspot texturing set up again, and we should be good to go. Awesome. Now this is great, right? So now at this point, as you can see, this the edges and everything is here, and you can continue to actually edit your object as you would normally. So for instance, if I wanted to put like an inset here, it's just going to base it on those shapes. If I want to do a push pull, let's go ahead and do that, see how that works. Click, drag, just like that. Works pretty good. Now, for instance, if you noticed, here it looks really good, but on this side it doesn't. And that is because your faces aren't, this is not going to match anything that's on your layout group, right? So what we would need to do is to make sure that we connect those lines and those edges so that that would work better. So what I can do here is actually use the polyline tool and connect that there. Use the polyline tool and connect here, just like so, and continue to connect. And so what we're just trying to do is tell it, hey, I need you to recognize that there's some other things going on here. Now with this selected, you can also go back into your hotspot and you can hit auto apply to faces, and that's going to auto apply to faces to kind of bring it up to date, and you can continue from there. So, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty easy. Again, you can use all types of different tools and continue to do any UV modeling that you need to. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue to play with this and just continue to create all types of interesting little things here. And of course, you can still do things like bevels. So if I click this bevel, this edge, and hit bevel, you can see that that is going to reflect based on that. And of course, if I do something like this, it will continue to look interesting. Awesome. Great. That's not too bad. So yeah, so basically with hotspot texturing, you can really build what you want. This is really just an example of how to get started using hotspot texturing in your projects. And I will continue to make some more videos about it, and we can actually make a full game asset with your hotspot texturing technique. All right. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to stay up to date with the latest features and updates by hitting the subscribe button and clicking the notification bell. More features are coming and you wouldn't want to miss out. See you soon.